Good morning, everyone. It is Saturday morning, which means it's time for yet another Salty Saturday live stream. Got a lot of things to talk about today. I am your host, Matthew Kadish, the belabored producer of the Salty Nerd Podcast. And with me, as always, is Santa, aka Matt Bader 74. How you doing, buddy?
Hello. Good morning. Ho, ho, ho.
You're supposed to say ho, ho, ho. Yeah.
I decided to embrace it today. You know, I put on this shirt out of pure randomness and I go, yeah, that's what we're doing today.
Definitely.
So I even got my old glasses out that kind of pull off the look a little bit more. So yeah. Good morning.
And we've got Brian from the Popcast joining
Santa,
us.
baby. Sorry I'm late, guys.
It's okay.
We just started. It's okay.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Brian, thank you for joining us this morning. I know that you were out and about, so we always appreciate you being here.
Yeah, baby.
And with us for the first time on Salty Saturday Mornings is author extraordinaire John David, who is the author of the Morgalla Chronicles. Very cool, kind of like, how would you describe it, John? It's like a demon story.
It is, except I kind of threw the entire demon mythos out the window. It's actually more of an alien invasion story where the aliens happen to be demons, and instead of spaceships, they're more like kind of coming from underground. I say that it's an alien invasion story where one of the aliens happens to be on our side.
Well, it seems like a cool series of books, and we have a link to John's Amazon author page in the description, so if you want to check out his stuff, you can find it there. And we have a few other guests on the line, but they are running late as always. So you guys are stuck with us for the foreseeable future, but that's okay. We've also want to give a shout out to our big donators. So we got the Astro Nerd Boy, who's still our top super chat, donated $100 to us. Fluffy Panda is still our most consistent donator, and Backyard TARDIS is still our top patron. But that does not mean any of these people can be dethroned. So if you want to get your name up there, feel free to start donating. And we've also got our little ticker at the bottom. So we will update that live as we're going forward. So if you guys want to get featured on the video, just feel free to drop us some super chats. Real quick, I just want to give shout out to everyone who is currently in the chat on YouTube. We got Serge, we got Penny, we got Anthony Mark, Keely Chow, the Crusader Lion, Mr. Farnsworth, and who else? E. Clay Thomason is here. Broba Fett, good to see you. Chris Retzlaff, sorry if I butchered that name. And Gavin Blackburn and Fluffy Panda, who is saying Vader Claus and his brother Satan Claus, as always.
All right.
All right, guys. So we got a lot to get to today. And I'm glad that Brian finally showed up because I didn't want to start this, our first topic, without him, which is Henry Cavill is no longer Superman. Yeah, so this broke this week, where basically James Gunn, who is in charge of the new direction for the DCEU, he came out and he said, Peter and I have a DC slate ready to go, which we couldn't be more over the moon about. We'll be able to share some exciting information about our first projects at the beginning of the new year. Among those on the slate is Superman. In the initial stages, our story will be focusing on an earlier part of Superman's life, so the character will not be played by Henry Cavill. But we just had a great meeting with Henry, and we're big fans, and we talked about a number of exciting possibilities to work together on in the future. Then Henry Cavill went out and made an official post on his Instagram. He said, I have just had a meeting with James Gunn and Peter Safran, and it's sad news, everyone. I will, after all, not be returning as Superman. After being told by the studio to announce my return back in October, prior to their hire, this news isn't the easiest, but that's life. The changing of the guard is something that happens. I respect that. James and Peter have a universe to build. I wish them and all involved with the new universe the best of luck and the happiest of fortunes. So basically, Gunn says that the new Superman story will focus on the character's life as a cub reporter in the fictional city of Metropolis. Audiences will encounter him meeting key characters like Lois Lane. In addition, Variety Point said that Gunn's project will not replace the previously announced J.J. Abrams' Ta-Nehisi Coates Superman concept of a black Superman. So that's still going forward, apparently. This was a real shock to me, especially after they made a big deal about Henry Cavill announcing that he's coming back, and I was genuinely surprised at this decision. The
Right.
topic that James Gunn is going to be rebooting the universe as opposed to taking the Snyderverse and kind of like trying to right the ship.
Yeah.
Matt Vader 74.
Yes.
Thought on this?
So my first thought is I wish we could do this a few days earlier than Saturday mornings, because I feel like literally everybody's already talked about this, but that's what we do. We talk about things that everybody else has already talked about, but that's fine. Here's my take, and my take is maybe not the most popular one. I get it. If I was James Gunn, the last thing I would want to do was have to continue on with Snyder's vision of things. I would not want to use all of the people that he cast in these roles. If I had a different vision than what Snyder had or anybody else, especially if I'm rebooting this thing from scratch, I would do the same thing. I get it. I understand it. I don't have a problem with it. I mean, yeah, it sucks. Henry Cavill was a great Superman. He was an awesome Superman. But at the same time, I completely understand, and I am not mad about it. Henry Cavill wasn't the first Superman that we ever had. He's not going to be the last. And this next guy that plays the role, whoever it is, isn't going to be the last person to ever play the role either. I kind of have to look at it like anything like a James Bond type character. They're going to recast these characters over and over again as long as they keep making movies. These people are going to get older. They're not going to fit the roles for whatever movie they're making. I get it. I totally do. And I would do the same thing if I had a vision that was different than Zack Snyder. Zack Snyder is a divisive guy. I know all the Snyder bots and cultists out there are pissed off about this, but they're going to need to get over it, I have a feeling, and move on. So that's my take. I get it. I'm not mad about it at all. He's got a lot of cool stuff coming up, which we'll talk about later. Henry Cavill is not going to be hurt by this. In fact, it's probably going to open him up to some really cool shit down the road. So no salt for me on this one.
All right, Mr. David, what is your take on this?
Actually, I agree with Vader. I think he's better off, to be perfectly honest, and I completely understand why. I wouldn't want to take over something, especially something that really is divisive. The entire DCEU has been really divisive over the past 10 years. Just saying, a lot of people, some people like it, some people hate it, and all this, and just to be handed that, he says, you know what? I'm going to wipe the slate. They have many decades of stories and concepts to siphon off of with DC Comics, and I completely understand where James Gunn was coming from. And it's a bummer. It's kind of ironic that you mentioned Bond very briefly, because I always considered Henry Cavill to be like the Daniel Craig of Superman. To which Daniel Craig is, I think, potentially one of the best Bonds out there, but he was given weak material, and his Bond films were very weak, and it's just a shame that Henry Cavill didn't have better movies to siphon off of. But he was a really great Superman, and it's a shame to see him go. But oh well.
Agreed.
All right, so Brian, I know you have a lot to say about this, so let it flow. Let your freak flag fly.
Here we go.
You are our queer representation on the panel,
That's
so
right.
you basically say anything you want and not
Whatever
worry
I
about
want.
it. Yeah.
Yep. And Trump sucks. So here we go. All right. I sort of agree with John. Henry Cavill, in my opinion, was the best Superman, but he was not given the best material.
Agreed.
I also agree with Matt that Snyder could be a divisive guy, or I should say the Snyder fans are divisive. And I agree with Vader that James Gunn should be given the opportunity to, he's won goodwill. So give him the opportunity to go out there and make DC Universe something awesome, right? But I don't understand, and I do love James Gunn, and I'm going to give him a shot regardless, but I don't understand why you would start over. Let's go. Let's take your point, Matt. Zack Snyder's a divisive guy. Okay. And you don't have to do Zack Snyder stuff. All we're asking is that you don't start over again.
Mhm.
Because we're constantly like, here, think about this as a DC stan here, ready? I have never seen Superman at full power. I've never seen a Batman Beyond. I've never seen Wonder Woman in the Justice League Tower. I've never seen the stuff that I've been reading and watching in cartoons since I was 9. But I have seen all that crap in Marvel. I've seen so much in Marvel. I'm good. I'm over it. I've seen so much of Marvel's deep cut, third rate, deep, canon stuff that I'm like, okay, all right, I've gotten my Marvel fix. I'm good with Marvel for the rest of my life. All right. But DC it's been started, stopped, started, stopped, started, stopped. Or even worse, there is this DC, but let's do my version of it. I'm not complaining about the Nolan films, but those weren't comic, those weren't exactly comic book movies in the sense where if the guy wasn't wearing a costume and he was just in tactical gear, it would still be the same movie. It wasn't really a comic book movie, right? It was a comic book movie in name only. The Matt Reeves stuff is fine, but not really comic book stuff. It's just sort of Joker's a great movie. It's not the Joker. It's not Joker from the comic books. What it is it's a messed up dude that has Joker like. So the thing is, these are all great, but I'm tired of the what ifs. I'm tired of the false starts. I'm so, excuse my French, I'm so fucking tired of origin stories. Like, I don't want to hear it.
Do you really think that we're going to get another? We're going to get Krypton blowing up with the rocket flying from Krypton to Earth and all this stuff again? I don't think that's where we're going to get.
No, but we're going to get a soft origin story, and I'll tell you what that means. We're going to get Clark starting at the Daily Planet after leaving Smallville, after finishing his college, associate's degree or whatever. He's going to get his job at the Daily Planet, and he's going to meet Lois. And so it's not going to be a full reboot. We're probably not going to meet his parents. We're not going to see Krypton explode, all that nonsense. That's not going to happen again. But we're going to see him start at the Daily Planet, meet Lois for the first time, start working into his daily life. And so it's not a full reboot for him, full origin story. Well, it's reboot, not full origin story, but it is. Let's go back and let's start over again. But instead of starting over when he was a kid, we're starting over when he was an adult. Sure. And I do. Have we ever seen, outside of cartoons, guys, have we ever seen Superman just be in a Superman movie? Right?
I got to see Superman use his powers so much that he flew around the Earth so fast that it changed time.
Yeah,
and space as we know it.
Yeah, that was great. You're right. Yeah, we saw in the third Christopher Reeves movie, we saw a regular Superman movie, and then it just sort of fizzled out. So that's what I'm saying is I just really want to. Superman's my favorite character. DC is my favorite studio. My favorite comic books, and I still haven't seen a good version. Like, we have not seen a good version of Flash in movies. We saw Ezra Miller's Flash as a character in other people's movies, and I guess we're going to see him coming up here. But even if that movie is, let's say that movie is outstanding. Let's say we're here on a Saturday, we're like, holy crap, that movie was like, whoa. Doesn't matter. It's over. There's no more of those. It's a great movie, cool. But
I'm still not convinced we're going to actually get to see that movie.
I don't know either, but it's not going to be a universe building thing, right?
No.
So the thing is, like, I want to see the DC universe. I don't want to see one Superman movie. I want to see the whole story. I want to see them do what Marvel did. And I thought we had gotten past the real rough stages of the studio getting involved with Walter Hamada and Jeff Johns and the Snyder Group. But we had these really good characters that everyone, even the people that hated Zack Snyder, well, everyone pretty much agreed Henry Cavill is the best Superman. Everyone's pretty much agreed. I want to see more Ben Affleck. Well, Gal Gadot is awesome. Everyone, aside from Ezra Miller, the rest of the casting was everyone was pretty much on board. This is it. So if you want to restart, I mean, here's an idea. Like, all right, well, just ignore all the Snyder stuff. Just start, but start with the characters that the audience already knows. And the thing is that the normies that don't follow all this stuff, what they're gonna see in 3 years or whatever is another Superman movie. And they're gonna, what I would do as a normie, I'm like, oh, I guess we're just starting over again, huh?
I think that would be confusing though. If we're starting a new world, maybe we're going to another Earth realm or something, Earth 544 or whatever the fuck they do that in the DC world,
Earth X.
Yeah. Having the Snyder characters though, starting brand new stories, I think would confuse the normies. I like I said, I kind of understand why he's doing what he's doing. If he's doing a complete reboot, you don't want the same people playing the same roles. So.
Speaking of confusing the normies, let's welcome Tom Connors to the panel.
Oh,
hey, Tom.
The most confusing of normies.
Thank you for joining us this morning.
Hello, I had a few minutes. I thought I'd hop in.
Appreciate it. So we're talking about Henry
How's it
Cavill
going?
and Superman. Do you have any insights into this with your Midnight's Edge?
Well, first of all, I mean, technically he wasn't fired because he never was really hired.
Mm-hmm.
You got to keep that in mind. He got paid for what he did. There, as I said before, he wanted to hear a pitch before he signed on to anything. And the pitch to him was, we're going in a different direction, which is what he and everybody found out this week. And look, whether I was upset to at first, I thought, well, that's a dumb move. But like you guys are just debating here.
Yep.
If you're going to start fresh, you might as well start fresh. It's been 10 years. We've been dicking around with this shit. Might as well just get to it now. And I know a lot of people are like, well, I don't want Superboy. Well, it's like, I don't think we're going to get Superboy either. I think this is going to be more like Homecoming in a sense that we're just going to pick up basically like the day after he left the Fortress of Solitude. He's just meeting Lois and Jimmy and all those guys in Metropolis. So it's not Smallville. It's going to be Metropolis. And it's just going to be like kind of about midpoint through the movie where, like I said, like where because people forget. And here's the big thing. Zack Snyder confused a lot of people and made them think that Superman was a Jesus allegory. It's not. It's a Moses allegory. And the allegory is when he goes up, when Moses goes up the mountain, gets the 10 Commandments, comes down, he's touched by God, he's a completely different man. Same thing happens to Superman or Clark when he goes to the Fortress of Solitude. Goes up to the Fortress of Solitude, learns all this shit, comes back down a completely different person. He comes back as Superman. He's kind of pre-made, right? So like that's what I hated about Man of Steel as a personal thing. And you guys are right. At this point, the general audience would be so fucking confused. They already are. They would be so you might as well just kind of completely reboot it at this point. They said reset, but I'm like, this is a ground up reboot. The only thing I could see pissing a lot of fans off at this point after the dust settles is if Gunn does not nuke his shit too. Like if he keeps his shit going and nukes everything else, that is going to be one of the most selfish moves in Hollywood history.
And isn't his wife like one of the stars of Peacemaker?
Something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, his wife is hardcore, right? She's like, that's going to be rough going home. Hey, listen, hon, you're not doing Peacemaker.
She was in Black Adam too, and that's
right.
Probably going to get nuked.
I have a feeling the DC universe is going to get really weird really quick here very soon. So.
Yeah, the thing is, Tom, I get what you're saying, and it all makes sense. But was the Snyderverse so toxic that you couldn't use you couldn't build onto it? Not actually making more Snyderverse crap, but keeping the characters and the movies that they already had, and then going forward and telling real stories, and we don't have to worry about Wonder Woman's origin story, Batman or Superman. We're there. The audience is there. Hey, it's not just now start shaping the DC universe into whatever you want, and you've already gotten all the setup out of the way. Or you're telling me that the setup is required again.
The weird thing is that the movies that are slated to come out, you got Shazam, Aquaman 2, and Blue Beetle, I guess. Who's gonna bother to see these if like they're not going anywhere, right?
Yeah, good point. And Shazam is a Pete Saffron picture. He's really invested in Shazam.
I can
Are
put
we
my
to the
tinfoil
point?
hat on for a moment.
Are we to the
That's about it.
point when it comes to superhero movies that we can't go watch a movie as a standalone?
Well,
Or do we have to have? Does it have to be part of a continuation?
All these movies are continuations of what came before. They're not
Right.
standalone.
I
Like The
get
Flash, Aquaman 2, Shazam. These all have their roots in the Snyderverse.
I don't need to have Shazam touching anything else in the DC world.
It would have been nice
works,
to like.
It works fine on its own.
What if they just find like one more movie? Let's say a Man of Steel 2 and like finalize this whole thing.
I agree. I'm with you there, man. I would really have liked to have seen something like that, but I don't know.
Well, Tom, what do you think are the odds that they'll reshoot Flashpoint yet again to basically reboot the whole universe?
No, this kind of makes more sense why they kind of came to a standstill while James Gunn went off into his retreat. Because, the last couple times I've been on here, I think basically I've had really not much to tell you guys because there hasn't been no news because nobody knew nothing but James Gunn. And I think Black Adam pretty much kind of set in motion this whole thing. If Black Adam had been a huge hit, we'd be having a little bit different conversation. And a lot of that shit happened before James Gunn even took the job. Like, people don't realize how quickly all this stuff has happened in the last couple months here. It was just like a whirlwind of, like, this stuff happening. So, at one time, Warner Brothers was planning on bringing back Henry Cavill. That was initially the plan.
Yeah.
But that was also among Mike DeLuca and Pam Abdi's plan of what they were hoping to do, and that was build on the past of the Snyderverse, use some of the actors going forward, but change the tone. And I'm sure Gunn sat down and thought at first that was a good idea, but realized that's already what they've been trying to do for the last 5 years. And it ain't been working. Because really we've gone through 2 or 3 different regimes at Warner Brothers, if you think about it. Started out under Zack Snyder. Then for a hot minute, Ben Affleck was in charge. People forget that. And then come Jeff Johns and Berg. And those guys ran this thing into the ground with Hamada, basically, afterwards. And that's where we're at now, right? So that's how many people have had control of this thing in just the time period that Marvel's managed to kick it off, do how many different Avenger movies, Infinity War, Endgame, all that business.
Yeah, I'm officially sick of Marvel. That's what they made me sick of it.
They ran their course, right? Like,
right,
it's kind of like at this point, it's like, what else do you got for me? Because I've seen all this shit. And DC, on the other hand, you guys are right. We have yet to have a Superman movie. We haven't had a decent Batman movie in 10 years. And if you like the Batman, that's fine. But to me, that was trash.
Oh, it's horrible.
And
so glad we're on the same page there. I hate it.
And it didn't make enough money to make any difference anyway. So that shit's dead if it's not it's kind of on life support at this moment.
All right.
The Joker is the only thing that's a guarantee. As far as them releasing the rest of the stuff, I think they're contractually obligated to it, but why would they kill the momentum going in?
Yeah, that Joker thing really throws me for a loop too, because man, I did not like that movie.
No, but it made the most money in the world.
I know, but it's just
that's why.
It's so weird to me.
It is, and it's not just did it make money. It's like, you got to understand, Matt. It is on like in the top 3 or 4 of highest grossing films of all time.
What's even stranger is the
we just
the
lost
Ta-Nehisi Coates. I'm sure he'll hop back on. The Ta-Nehisi Coates Superman that J.J. Abrams is producing. Like, apparently that's still going.
That was something thrown into the THR mix of it for some dumb reason, which tells me somebody's trying to start shit. As far as I know, the J.J. Abrams stuff has all been so dead for so long that they're even pulling Westworld off of HBO Max. I don't know what the main reason is, but the thing I can think of is that JJ's trying to sell it elsewhere, because that's what he's been trying to do, is sell all this stuff he did for Warner Brothers elsewhere, because Zaslav's like, nah, we're good. We don't need to be spending $500 million on this shit.
We need to have $500 million on a sci-fi show that I can't even pronounce the name to. I'm good, man. No thanks.
Yeah, so he never got that money, and he was trying to renegotiate for half of it. And they're like, no, just leave.
JJ, please leave. Please leave.
Yes, please leave.
I haven't actually heard JJ's name thrown around there for a while. It's all been James Gunn, and it's been kind of a nice break, to be completely honest with you. I could care less if I ever heard JJ's name attached.
And Matt might know this as far as Hollywood goes. Sure, he's still out writing the script. They have to hear it, just like they had to hear Patty Jenkins' treatment.
Yeah,
because they paid him for it.
Right.
But that doesn't mean they're going to say, well, we're not going that direction when he comes in.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that in a bit, but we got
wanna
some
go back
super
to-
chats to get
okay.
to real quick. So Chris Retzlaff for $2. It's actually Beam, not Beheem.
This is true.
Very
This is
important.
very true.
Very important to know this.
Don't ever screw that up when you're making an RRR video discussion stream, because they will come after you, man. They will come
They
after
will.
you.
I never saw that movie. Was it good?
It was good. It was really good. Yeah.
It's amazing.
If you haven't seen it, go watch
I hear
it.
it's good, but I
RRR.
don't have 4 hours.
Yeah, that's good.
I gotta watch it in
All right.
chunks. Okay, Eric Falconer for $5. Thank you. I think Cavill has secretly committed to Bond. I haven't heard anything about that yet, but
No, but I
he'd
think
make a
that
good Bond.
Warhammer thing was in effect beforehand. Yeah.
I can hope so. We can all hope so. I would love to see him as James Bond.
I've
That'd
been
be
hearing
great.
they've been poking around Aaron Taylor Johnson for Bond.
He'd make a good one too. So would Loki. What's his name? Tom
Yeah.
Hiddleston.
You got to remember they're probably going to go for a younger Bond. I bet.
Yeah. Eric, thank you very much. Appreciate that $5. Lewis
Lewis
Cox.
Cox
As I
for
was just
£5.
saying, yeah.
Cavill is doing Warhammer 40K now. He's not doing Bond or anything else other than that.
Well, he's doing Highlander
Yeah.
still, as long as that gets going.
We'll be discussing the Warhammer 40K stuff here in a coming up segment.
It's our next segment.
All right. Thank you, Lewis. Gavin Blackburn.
$1.49 super sticker. Thank you, Gavin.
Thank you very much. Ron Cook.
$1.99 super sticker. Thank you, Ron. Appreciate it.
Fluffy Panda.
Good old Fluffy Panda, our most consistent donator, for $10. Wasn't surprised. No difference than a new GM taking over a failing franchise. They nailed the casting of the big three, but effed up everything else. I can see why he'd want to refresh people's memory of the DCEU. Also, knowing how Gunn writes things, like basically he's going to be setting the stage where like Superman is the catalyst for all the different other like superhero stories he's going to be writing.
I think that's probably a good observation. Yeah.
You know what's funny is if I had a time machine and godlike powers, I wish I could just go back and take the cast we have now and put it in Gunn's hands, because it's so good to me. And losing Cavill is like, all right, well, so we're definitely losing Gal Gadot, who is fucking perfect. We're 100% losing Ben Affleck. Again, $10 says Jason Momoa ends up being Lobo. Or something.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, personally, I didn't think any of Snyder's casting choices other than Henry Cavill were correct. And I think Henry Cavill was actually more of a Christopher Nolan pick. But the good news is that we're going to be getting a better Lex Luthor than Jesse Eisenberg.
Sure.
Yeah, and all that other stuff.
I think Eisenberg could have worked, bro. It just he had bad direction.
No Jared Leto Joker.
I think that could have worked too. Just bad direction, man.
Yeah. Hey, do you guys remember a month or so ago when Momoa put out that video on Instagram about him being super excited?
Yeah, and I've been hearing the same rumor for about a month.
I think that was probably him getting told that he's in line to play Lobo or something like that.
Yeah, Lobo's his favorite character. Yeah.
So one more from Fluffy
I like
Panda.
that idea though.
Yeah. And Fluffy Panda again for $5. Thank you so much. They've yet to top DC's animated content. At least Marvel gave a good decade plus of content. Still think they should center around Batman. And also like Bruce Timm. Like they've had Bruce Timm at DC for how long? It's like
but the DC animation's gone way downhill in the last 10, 15 years.
Well, I think they did their budget kind of get slashed.
Well, a lot of those guys went woke as fuck. That's part of it. And then they made Catwoman or a Batgirl fuck Batman and all that shit. And they took the Killing Joke and made it a joke.
Yeah.
The best thing that they've probably had in the last 10 years, I mean, that Gotham by Gaslight was okay, but other than the Ninja Turtle one, which is probably the best thing they had with Batman, like there hasn't been one that people have talked about that's been good in a while. Some people did say that when they redid the Death of Superman animated, it was a little better because they did it with the Death of Superman and the Reign of Superman. I don't know. I thought they were just about the same, just missed different points than the other one did, but I don't know. Their animations department's been a mess for a while. So Bruce Timm and all them guys, I don't know if I'd trust them with the DC universe anymore.
There was a time to where I kept saying, hey, how come you don't have Bruce Timm or Paul Dini start writing DC movies? Why don't you guys start having this? Why didn't you have Paul Dini write a Batman movie? I don't understand why they didn't do that.
You could. You'll just have somebody like Tim Burton come in and take it over. That's the problem.
Yeah. I mean, the issue is that animation doesn't get any respect at the studios, basically. To someone who asked who I would have cast as Wonder Woman, so I don't got a problem with Gal Gadot. I think she was fine, but I don't think she was like the best choice for Wonder Woman. I would have liked to have seen a Kate Beckinsale or Jessica Biel or someone along those lines. But Gal Gadot's fine.
I really hope that Gunn goes with all no names for his new Justice
Same
League.
here.
So, all right, I think we can move on.
All right, so since we're talking about Cavill, let's talk about his next project. Now that he's no longer being Superman, Cavill goes to Warhammer 40,000. So the big news that came out just yesterday, I think, is that basically Henry Cavill is going to star in a Amazon original series based around Warhammer 40,000, and he's also going to be.
I need you to do me one favor. You have to say Warhammer 40K. Nobody says Warhammer 40,000.
I was thinking the same thing.
So basically, Amazon Studios has made it official, confirming that they have secured global rights to the Warhammer 40K game from Games Workshop for Henry Cavill to star in and executive produce the franchise across all Amazon Studios productions. The agreement encompasses the rights to the universe across TV series, film, and likely games and animation. So we all know that Henry Cavill's been a long-time 40K fan. He buys figurines, paints them, all that stuff. He's super nerdy about it. And basically, he's partnered with a group of people, including Vertigo and Andy Smiley and Max Boxtrill, to executive produce this stuff. So he's going to have some big creative control. And it actually kind of came out that there's this slow anti-Cavill campaign coming out from the Witcher EP, who's kind of starting a, I guess, propaganda war against him for having left after the season 3. They're talking about how he's toxic, he's too masculine, he made females feel uncomfortable on the set of Witcher 3.
God.
Yeah, that he's a part of Gamergate and all this other stuff, and that he was making a bunch of unreasonable demands.
That's not going to go well.
And it's just starting to trickle out into the social media sphere, I guess, as a way for the Witcher people to try to basically save face. But Cavill is going into the 40K realm, and it looks like they're going to be focusing in on a shared universe where there will be Amazon original movies, Amazon original TV series, and animation all kind of interconnected. And Cavill is actually going to have a guiding hand in that. This is the first time he's actually producing something. And I think his experience on The Witcher is really kind of guiding his hand in this because he has such a love for the material. But this is good news, he lost out on The Witcher, he lost out on Superman, but now he's got something that he's truly passionate about. John David, what do you think about this? Do you think Henry Cavill's the right guy to steal the Warhammer 40K ship?
Primarily because if he is truly a fan of it, as he says he is, absolutely. Part of I think he's winning out, doing something completely brand new that, as we lovingly, affectionately call the normies, have no idea what it's about. I mean, normies are going to be like, what's this? This has been around for 4 decades. What are you talking about? What's this? It's Warhammer 40K. And if he's truly a fan of it, that means that he's passionate about it. And you said he's executive producing, right? Did I hear that right?
Yes.
Then awesome. If he's executive producing, that also means that he has more. Obviously, he's at the helm of the ship, and I'm very curious how this is going to turn out. The only downside that I see is that it's Amazon. If Amazon gets out of his way, guys, you gotta let him do a little bit more, I suppose.
I don't know if the normies are ready for Warhammer 40K. this is such a massive and expansive IP that has been around for decades now that most people have absolutely zero clue what it's about. I played Warhammer 40K. I played Warhammer Fantasy. I painted thousands of points of models. I spent hours and hours and hours playing this game, painting the figures for this game. And I barely know the surface level lore of this thing. It is a massive, massive undertaking about with all the lore that's out there. There's graphic novels, there's books, there's all the source game materials. Every character in this world has a source book that's like this thick.
Yeah,
it's insane how big.
Vader, I'm going to get to you in a second. I know Tom has to hop off here real quick, but I wanted to ask him about something before he has to go. So this is the opening salvo from the Witcher people, where basically it says, at the beginning of the show, Henry was good to work with, a lot of unusual demands that made people feel like he wasn't really a team player, but that's not unusual for a big star. Though in TV, it truly usually doesn't happen until the second season, but in seasons 2 and 3, something shifted, and he became really impossible for women to work with, which is always a big problem. But even worse, because the showrunner is a woman. He would try to overrule her and try to get changes made last minute across the board without her knowledge, which, if you know anything about showrunning, is completely effed. The showrunner has to sign off on every minuscule detail down to the buttons on a costume. Female writers and directors were suddenly completely ignored on set, unable to do their jobs. Every department head was complaining. He started making comments. It wasn't a sexual thing. He wasn't grabbing anyone or being lewd. He was just disrespectful and toxic all the same. He's deeply addicted to video games to the point where it was like working with any other addict. He was distracted. He was late. He was obsessive. And a lot of people think that the misogyny came from the gamer world. Video game bro language is not how you talk to coworkers, and he wouldn't stop. Someone on the show compared it to watching someone get brainwashed by QAnon. Like, his whole personality shifted. Eventually, his disrespect escalated. He would rewrite scenes without even alerting the other actors in the scene until it was time to shoot. He decided that he didn't want any romantic scenes at all, no kissing, no shirtless scenes, etc. He wanted complete control of storylines, but had no idea of the limitations of TV structure, budget, etc. He formed a weird alliance with one writer who was also a gamer, who eventually got fired after multiple HR complaints were made. And after that writer left, Henry did anything he could to hold up production and cause problems. Eventually, top brass at Netflix was tired of him costing them money with delays in HR investigations, and the showrunner was asked to construct a potential exit for him. Netflix reached out to him personally, and he was given one final warning and violated that warning with an email he sent to the entire writing staff right after the meeting. That was it. Tom,
oh my God, I want to have sex with this guy right now.
I know,
like,
right?
Yeah, this does not make him look bad. This makes him look awesome.
Hold on, Brian. Tom,
Sorry.
Do you think that there's any truth to this report?
No, but if there was, I don't give a fuck, because that means he's the star of the motherfucking show.
Yeah.
Guess what? You ain't got no show without Henry Cavill.
Mm-hmm.
You could be a dozen lady fucking directors and writers, and anybody who says that they made him feel uncomfortable and you're Henry fucking Cavill and you're a woman, they're lesbians. That's all I can fucking say, because I am a straight fucking man. Yeah. And I will tell you that Henry Cavill looks tasty. Yeah. Okay?
Yeah.
Like, there is nobody on earth who could resist him. I am sorry. He is Prince Charming incarnate.
Right.
And I have never once seen anything about him that would lead me to believe that he is this tyrant that they try. And you ever notice the little things they go after with him? And it's the same thing with DC and Warner before. And this is the only part of the whole thing that made me feel bad for him, as far as this whole announcement, Warner Brothers, enticing him back and all that kind of stuff like they did. The Rock needs to take a lot of blame for that, but that's a whole nother conversation to be had that we have bypassed. When it comes to this Witcher thing, I don't believe any of this shit.
Mm-mm.
I don't believe one fucking word of it. Because, I believe they're trying to make up him as this bad guy. And we've heard about the kind of staff these people are from other writers. And, they're trying to paint this picture that, this other writer that's over on X-Men now is the writer they're talking about, I bet. Who wants to take fucking bets? Because you got a room full of fucking squealing lesbians who can't stand this guy in their fucking show. If he is so powerful, then why did he get pushed to the back for the second season? I've never seen this shit. When you guys started talking about Warhammer and Witcher, this is what I heard. Nerd shit. wah, 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 nerd shit.
Yeah.
But one thing I do know is if you have a fucking star like Henry Cavill, who is popular as he is with both men and women, that is why I was just like, James, what the fuck are you thinking? But, you know, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt here. When it comes to Warhammer, you can't afford not to have Henry Cavill. Good luck with season 3 with Thor's brother. It's just not going to work out.
It's not going to work.
You just needed somebody to stand in the background. We get it. Okay, we get it. Quit trying to ruin this guy's fucking career and his goddamn fucking... Because guess what? He's conservative. Why don't you just fucking come out and fucking say it?
Yep.
That's what makes him
Just say it.
uncomfortable.
Just
say it.
Yeah.
Just fucking say it. It's because he's not a lefty. Because he's
liberal,
not,
right.
whoa, and he likes things like gamers do. Guess what? They're saying, we're not fans of this shit. We don't know what a Warhammer is. They probably know less about it than I do. And now I've went and got everything so fired up that the sex bots are here. So let me write this down. Find new adult dating chat. Dot site. Okay. No, that's where I'm at. I don't believe a fucking word of it. And I don't have any personal, I'm like not a huge Henry Cavill fan one way or the other, but I feel like they're doing him so fucking dirty. And I think it really has to do with what Matt just said. Straight men love him, and so do women. They drool over him. I have seen so many women who are saying, I'm done with DC. It's like, why? Who gives a shit? Maybe they'll find, no, it doesn't matter, Henry. It's like, okay, they're loyal to Henry. Like,
he definitely has that charm and appeal, doesn't he? That everybody likes.
Yeah.
You know.
Well,
Yeah,
Tom, thank you so much for hopping on the stream with us.
hopefully that
Appreciate your
helps your
insights as always.
algorithm there.
Yeah,
We're
got
going to
some
clip that
sex
little
bots.
rant. We're going to clip it and post it. So yeah.
No,
Definitely
they
got
just
our
don't
sex
like him
bots
because
going.
he's a white, straight male.
That's
And
what
he's
it is.
probably
100%.
conservative. That's what the whole bottom line is. Let's be
I think it really came down to like he actually respected the source material and wanted to be closer
that
to
too.
it.
Yes.
Because let's be
There
real,
you have
Matt,
it.
you know from being in the industry, anybody who's difficult to work with, that's why they don't want Star Trek fans. That's why I don't want Star Wars fans. That's why I don't want Marvel fans. Sure, part of it is because some of these people are too close to these stories and these characters. The other part of it, they just don't want somebody else to tell them something that they should know, or they don't know well enough, or somebody like Henry who's like, yeah, but that's not how it should be because it's like this in the book, or the character does this in the story, and that goes against what the character would normally do. They don't like that. They don't like being told that, you know. So that's one thing that Henry is. He's a fan, 100%.
All
If
right,
they want to
Tom.
make something that's truly, if they want to make something their way, invent something of your own.
Yeah. All right, Tom,
That's harder
thank you
to
so
sell.
much. I know that you got to get going, but we
Yeah, I'm
appreciate you
sorry,
hopping on
guys.
the
I'm
stream.
actually late for a meeting here, but I love hanging out with you guys. So take care of yourselves and each
All
other.
right,
It's good
Tom.
seeing you all
Good
again.
luck, brother.
Thanks, bud.
Thanks for being on here.
Yeah.
So Brian, what's your take on Henry going for Warhammer 40K and all this the slow campaign to try to undermine him from the Witcher people?
Yeah, first off, 40K, awesome. Hell yeah. Do it. And the undermining, I don't think that their plan is working because he sounds awesome.
Mm-hmm.
He sounds like someone I want to hang out with.
Well, they're trying to paint him as a misogynist, right?
Right. I mean, but it's okay. So they make it clear that he didn't actually do anything sexual. He didn't say anything. But what made them uncomfortable was the fact that he was just a man. He's a gamer. That
Oh my
makes me
God.
uncomfortable. He talks like a
addicted.
regular person.
He's addicted to video games, Brian. Oh my
Oh
God.
my God. What are we gonna do?
This is a guy who publicly said, I almost missed my Superman audition because I was doing a World of Warcraft raid.
Right. This
my
is
guilt.
what that person's saying. He's addicted to video games.
No shit.
You know, like, get out of here, bro. Like, yeah. You know, it's
So
funny. Witcher is a video game.
Yeah.
Everyone's aware of that, right?
Yeah.
So the star of your show is addicted to playing the game it's based on. That might be a good thing.
And
I don't know.
it's no wonder he was like so salty about, this isn't The Witcher that we're filming here. What are we doing? This is a bunch of stuff that wasn't in the game or in the
This is
books or
like
whatever. You know, it's like be
NC-17
faithful.
CW, right?
And also the idea that Henry Cavill doesn't know how TV works. It's like, one of his first roles was on a TV show called The Tudors. It was a Showtime
Yeah.
original series. Like he's had a background in TV, and like he knows how it works. So I found everything in that report very suspect. Matt Vader, you are a big gamer. How did you interpret this?
How did I interpret this? I interpreted this as Henry Cavill was sitting in his room one day, and he's looking for some stuff to do after the news, and he probably picked up one of his miniatures and went, this would make a really cool movie or TV series. Who do I got to call to make this happen? And I think that's probably how it started, because he's a nerd. He's one of us. This is a guy who builds his own computers. He plays video games, and he plays tabletop Warhammer 40K games. And I'm just so happy that we have a guy like him out there in the Hollywood world, because he truly is. I truly do feel like he is made up of the same DNA that all of us are made of. And I appreciate the dude. I really do. And I hope that this Warhammer 40K stuff succeeds. It is such a massive, huge undertaking. I have no idea what they're going to do or what they're going to focus on or what. I am a little bit concerned because 40K has a very small, loyal, and extreme group of people that play this game. If they fuck this up, dude, it is going to be ugly. They can't wokeify this stuff. They can't. They absolutely cannot, or else it will absolutely shit the bed. And I'm very curious how it's going to go down. Fluffy Panda has a super chat here. I'm just going to work this into this, Matt. $5 from Fluffy. Amazon is content. Amazon content seems like picking up a woman in a bar. You don't know if you're going to get a Rings of Power or a terminal list, taco or sausage. Thanks, Fluffy. And he's 100% correct. I don't know what they're going to do here because, man, it could go either way. And I hope they give Henry the power to not have them screw this up. It'll be really interesting to see what goes down. So
he brought up a very good point about terminal list, to where what made terminal list popular. Think about that.
Yeah.
It was loyal to the source material for starters. Chris Pratt, he's popular. Let him do what let Chris Pratt be Chris Pratt. And granted, it's much more of a serious role for him. And
same thing with Reacher, right?
Yeah. It's just, guys, look, don't you want people to sit down and watch your shows, watch your content? If that's the case, then you gotta let people make quality work. And maybe I'm keeping my fingers crossed. Maybe they'll learn from the lessons of the terminal list and from Rings of Power, and just says, "Hey, well, one worked and one didn't. Why don't we go with what works? Because we want to make money."
It's funny to talk about. Okay, you got the terminal list, you got Reacher, and you got Jack Ryan, all on Amazon. All are very masculine, like hyper testosterone type series, and they're all huge hits. And for some reason, Hollywood seems to want to continue to feminize or wokenize a lot of these properties and remove that element, the toxic masculinity element from them. When like all you need to do is look at the 80s. What was that was the genesis of the Hollywood blockbuster, and it was all testosterone fueled popcorn movies, right? So give us that stuff, like you don't have to, it's not rocket science,
Right.
I am a little bit concerned about Warhammer 40K culture getting permeated into the world. I already get mad at these fake posers running around in Slayer t-shirts. If I see one asshole come up to me and want to talk about the Horus Heresy or something on the street, I'm going to lose my mind. So they better get it right, man. They better get it right.
Well, what's funny, it isn't Warhammer 40K. It's like the sci-fi sequel to a high fantasy Warhammer.
Well, there's Fantasy Battle and there's Warhammer 40K. Yeah, one of them set in a high fantasy realm and the other one in the far future. They're basically parallels of each other, very similar armies and everything. It's just different settings. Yeah, I guess you could say it that way. So. Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see if they actually incorporate any of the fantasy stuff in their cinematic universe going forward.
I mean, there's the Space Marines. Okay, if you're familiar with StarCraft from Blizzard, They basically ripped off Warhammer 40K and only took 3 of the armies out of the dozens or so that are available. You know, the Terrans are the Space Marines, the Zerg are the Tyranids, and the Protoss are basically the Eldar space elves. And you can go on and on and on and on. So I mean, Warhammer 40K and Warhammer has definitely had its influence in pop culture, and it's just going to be fascinating to see where they go. I mean, the video games out there are incredible. If you want to see something really cool, just go on YouTube and start Googling and start watching the animated cinematic intros to all of these video games that they've made over the years. They're some of the best animated cinematics out there. It'll blow your mind, and it'll give you a taste of what should be coming. So yeah, I'll leave it at that for now. We're going to be talking about Warhammer 40K for years. I have a feeling going forward, guys. That's why I'm really happy about this is happening, because it's such a huge, massive universe that if they do it right, we're going to have content for decades. So let's hope they don't fuck it up.
All right. Speaking of content for decades, Wonder Woman 3 got canceled. So that happened right before all the Henry Cavill news got dropped. So basically, Patty Jenkins had a treatment for a third Wonder Woman movie. She submitted it to Warner Brothers and James Gunn and his producing partner. And they basically said, yeah, thanks, but no thanks. That's not the direction we want to go with. So it's officially been canceled. And Patty Jenkins actually released a statement kind of clarifying exactly what happened from her perspective. But apparently her and James Gunn are still on good terms, and that they're kind of in talks to work together on some type of DC project. It's not clear what exactly it's going to be. Gal Gadot's position as Wonder Woman is up in the air, just like Henry Cavill's Superman. So this was kind of like the warning shot that got a lot of people in the interwebs kind of like buying into the fact that Cavill was going to be fired. I want to go to Brian on this first. Brian, what's your take on the scuttling of Wonder Woman 3? Do you think it was the right call? And what do you think the future of the character is going to be?
Yeah, well, I don't think there is a future for the character. If you're firing Cavill, everyone's getting fired. Although it would be really weird if only Cavill got fired and everyone else is still on. You're like, James? I think that the Wonder Woman 3 thing probably had to happen regardless. Patty Jenkins had a different idea for the character. They were going in a direction that was not James' direction. That's just plain and simple. And I didn't mind the 1985 version of Wonder Woman, but I also didn't like it either. It was sort of like, it's all right. I also, there was a thing on Twitter. I think it was actually problematic that she basically just raped some random dude. I love Gal Gadot as the character, but I don't think that she's going to be around. I think she's gone. I think that Wonder Woman 3 was canceled, not for the same reason, but mainly because their idea, their script, their whatever for the movie was completely different than what the direction that Gunn is trying to go in. And when they asked Jenkins for another idea, another treatment, she was like, nah, I'm out. So she's not very happy with the fact that she has to answer to someone clearly.
So Matt Vader 74, basically Patty Jenkins was scheduled to do a Rogue Squadron Star Wars movie that she had to drop out of because of scheduling with Wonder Woman 3. Now that Wonder Woman 3 is not going forward, there's a chance that she might return to Rogue Squadron because Lucasfilm basically said, okay, we'll wait for you. What do you think are the odds of that happening?
I don't think it's very high at all. I don't see the Rogue Squadron thing happening. I think Patty Jenkins might be a little kind of what's the word? I think there's changes going on in Hollywood right now, and I don't know if Patty Jenkins is of the right mindset to play ball with them.
Right.
You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I think Lucasfilm is going to be going through some changes here soon to where they're going to quit making this terrible woke bullshit that they've been subjecting us to. I think James Gunn is aware of that, and I think that's why he's getting rid of stuff that's going on out there. Patty Jenkins' Wonder Woman doesn't have a place in this world that he's building. He's going to recast a younger version. Or if he recast her at all, I don't know. I mean, come on. I mean, Wonder Woman 1984 was hot trash. Do we really want the third movie in that same vein? No, I didn't. It was garbage.
There was a rumor they were going to bring back Steve Trevor again.
It's like, this is unbelievable. I mean, I don't know. I feel like there's a shift happening right now, and I'm just, and I think Hollywood is going to be one of the slowest fights about making this shift to make it, but I do think it's happening. And it starts in Disney with the Chapek and Iger thing, and James Gunn over here doing the DZ stuff. And I think I wasn't really ready for that question, but I'm just trying to get my thoughts together. But I think things are changing. I don't think Patty Jenkins is going to be a huge part of it going in the future. I think as far as Star Wars goes, and I think her Wonder Woman stuff is done as well. So I'll just leave it at that for now, and we'll move on.
So John, one of the rumors surrounding Patty Jenkins' treatment that she turned in was that it was going to be centered around Wonder Woman using Ra's al Ghul's Lazarus pits to resurrect Steve Trevor. And he was going to become evil, and he was going to be like the main villain of the story between her and Wonder Woman, or him and Wonder Woman. Now, as a writer, what was your take on Patty Jenkins' work on Wonder Woman 1984 and this rumored treatment that she turned in?
84 just bored me. It's just like, oh god, okay, this happened and this happened, and just we have to bring back the love interest. If you have to bring back the love interest, she's not interesting enough to hold the story. And going on as to why Patty Jenkins maybe one of the reasons why he left, Vader kind of touched base a little bit on this, is that I think Patty Jenkins, if you take a look at her two Wonder Woman films, they were very almost separate to everything else that was going on in the DCEU at that time. So I think that's what she liked about it, that I'm allowed to do what I want, but not go too far out, obviously, to where these films can still fit in with the same universe. And just bringing back Steve Trevor for a third time, holy cow. It's one of the most annoying things that I always found. I mean, Star Trek did this all the time. And, and you can name so many other different series, is that, well, we're only interested in the we're going to have a female-centric episode featuring this female character, and she's going to get a love interest. Well, there's more to her than just that, isn't there? That's partially why I wrote my prequel, in the first book of my series, is that I purposefully did not want any love interest whatsoever. I wanted to focus on a heck of a lot more different things. And I don't know. Just maybe this is I'd say it's an absolute good thing that Wonder Woman 3 isn't happening.
Right.
Yeah, Brian, what's your take on Patty Jenkins as a writer?
So like I like the first Wonder Woman movie, and
Yeah.
I think that she has I think that she is one of those writers that is probably good if she is held back a little bit. Like, what's the word? Like when someone sort of modifies or reins in. Right. Yes. Thank you. She needs to be challenged. If she's allowed to do whatever. So she was given like the golden reins for a minute. She was like, oh, this person, she hits all the boxes. She's making us money. All right, do whatever you want. I think that Zack Snyder has the same problem. Like,
Many people have the same problem.
Yeah.
Well, Patty Jenkins didn't write the first Wonder Woman movie.
Oh, she didn't. Oh, I didn't know that.
No, she did not.
Oh, well, then who wrote that movie? Because that was great.
It was I believe it was a female screenwriter, but there was also a lot of input from Zack Snyder and a few other producers on that one. But once it became a hit, she was given a lot more power. And so with Wonder Woman in 1984, she had a lot more writing prowess. So like 84 was actually like her baby as opposed to the original Wonder Woman. She was just kind of mostly the director on that movie.
Well, then maybe she's not a very good writer then, because that 84 had a lot of problems.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot. I didn't hate it like Vader did. I enjoyed parts of it. I like the villain most of all.
I thought it was dumb.
I think the villain was like, he wasn't really a bad guy or a good guy. He was just like, I thought that was good. But I mean, of course, the Cheetah character was the worst.
Terrible.
That was terrible. Terrible. There's a lot of problems with that. But if she wrote that, then maybe she's not a good writer. Because I thought she wrote one, and one was great.
All right, we got a super chat real quick.
1 second. There we go.
From Denny Wright for $4.99. Anyone like Wonder Woman 1984 because the trailer was awesome, and I was thinking of watching Gal Gadot's okay. Yeah, I mean, the trailers for Wonder Woman 1984 were pretty cool. They had all the 80s nostalgia beats to them. But then you watch the movie, and you're just like, ooh, not good. Not good at all.
Yeah.
All right, so speaking of not good at all, let's talk about God of War getting a Amazon original series from the showrunner of Wheel of Time.
No.
Right. We got a God of War live action TV series ordered at Amazon, and it is coming from the same showrunner who did the Amazon Wheel of Time show, Rafe Judkins, basically. So he's going to skip over all the Greek mythology stuff that the first three games were based on, and basically just go to the reboot of the God of War mythology. And this guy, Rafe Judkins, like what he did with Wheel of Time should have been criminal. Like he really butchered that one.
He really did.
And I believe that was like he's an actor turned showrunner who basically like doesn't know anything about what he's doing. And the idea that Amazon would look at the train wreck that was Wheel of Time and be like, yeah, this is the guy to do God of War for us.
Do anything.
It's a little bit suspect. So Matt Vader 74, I wanted to go with you on this one. What's your call on this? Do you think it's going to be a train wreck?
Well, yeah, kind of has to be, right? I mean, I haven't played God of War, so I just don't have console games that I play. So I'm not a huge fan of the series. I know it's got its really hardcore, passionate fan base, and I absolutely respect that. And I know it's a game that I would probably like if I did play it. It looks really super cool and super fun. That being said, I'm sure that this person will not translate this game well to a series. I mean, it's just, I hate this. They do woke TV. I mean, and they're gonna end up wokeifying this thing up too. And the track record speaks for itself. And I feel bad for the people who are fans of the series, because I feel like how I'm so happy Henry Cavill's getting a hold of Warhammer 40K. I feel like the God of War people deserve to have that person run their show too.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And they're not getting that, and it's sad. It's just it's upsetting. So I don't have anything much more to add to it, because I don't play the game. So I'll leave it at that.
Brian, you're a big Stargate fan.
I am.
Christopher Judge, is that his name? Who's
Yes,
plays
Christopher
Keel?
Judge. Yeah, indeed.
Okay. Christopher Judge is the voice of Kratos in the rebooted God of War. Do you think he's going to have any involvement with the Amazon TV series?
I doubt it.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so. Now it would be. Would it be great if they made him part of it somehow? Yeah, but I love Christopher Judge. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
but he's not like a fantastic actor. Like he's very one note. he's sort of like Jason Momoa, like sort of the same kind of thing, but he just didn't break out the same way Jason did, even though they were on the same show together. Go figure. I think he's also a little too old for the character now, unless they like really like, you know, Logan it up a little bit. And I don't know if, I mean, who knows what they're gonna do? Like nowadays, everyone's just hiring a bunch of twinks to do these big muscle bound roles. So I don't even know how it's gonna play out.
I can see Batista being cast. As the main
Okay.
character.
So Batista can do it, then Christopher Judge can do it, because like I don't think Batista's a fantastic actor either.
Well, you know, and Batista will fit right in with the woke bullshit.
Right.
He's a woke asshole too. You know?
He'll fit into it, and he sort of looks the part, and he has the voice. Yeah. So I don't think Christopher Judge is going to be a part of it. I think Christopher Judge might have a woke thing going on too, but he's also always been very fan friendly. Like he's always went out of his way to be like kind to fans. So I really respect that in an actor, and he's never let go of like any of his roles, whether it's God of War or Tilk. He's always celebrated what other people love to celebrate. So he doesn't go like, oh, I'm done. I'm not playing that character anymore. I'm not talking about that. Like other actors are just, they sort of move on from characters. He sticks with it. So he's a good dude, but I'm not sure if he's probably not going to write for the role. More than likely they're going to hire some, you know, skinny, fit, metrosexual looking dude.
You know,
and it's going to be a disaster. It's not going to be like this big buff dude, you know. Give me the big buff guys sometimes, dude. Sometimes like Conan Barbarian. Would that have worked if it was Timothy Charlemagne? No. So can we not?
I guarantee you that if we could like go through the roster, and I'm going to sound like Danny the Dork Knight right now, but there's somebody in the WWE or AEW right now
For sure.
that could fit this role.
Yeah.
Some big, tall, buff, cut dude with the beard and everything. I guarantee you. I mean, the dude's out there. So yeah.
Right. Another thing too, I don't know if Christopher Judge is even like he has the voice, but he's not really like fit anymore like that. He was back in Stargate days, but it's been 20 years.
So John, you know, in the author community, Robert Jordan is very well respected. He's someone who a lot of us grew up reading. The Wheel of Time was kind of like the holy grail. It's like, oh man, if they could ever adapt those books, that would be epic. And they finally get to adapt those books, and they basically destroy them. And this is the guy behind that destruction. He basically turned a major plot point in the books into like a central mystery that everyone already knew the answer to. And I wanted to get your take on Rafe Jenkins' handling of the Wheel of Time and what you think he's going to do with God of War.
Well, it's tough to tell what he's going to do with it, but I'm not optimistic at all. Sadly, I never watched the Wheel of Time. I had no interest. Seeing the trailer, I got no interest in this. And sadly, I also never read the books. So just being honest there. But you said this was Amazon, correct?
Yeah.
So Amazon, you know, they did Lord of the Rings, but as we also mentioned earlier, they're also doing all these other shows, like Jack Ryan and all those, to which, you know, so they are willing to have masculine characters in the role. Just here, I don't think they're going to have Kratos be very masculine at all. Sadly, when I read the premise sounds interesting, but you know, if we jump into this world in like, you know, part 3 or whatever, I think a lot of the normies are going to jump in and they're going to completely miss out on a whole bunch of awesome stuff that happened before. And just, they're just going to take another franchise. They're going to try to do it their way without ever giving a damn about the source material, sadly. And, you know, they needed a Henry Cavill there. You know, a fanboy who is really, really into it.
Yeah, you know, what's interesting is like the first couple of games in the God of War franchise were based around Greek mythology. And then in the latest games, I think that they moved to Norse mythology, like, and they're choosing to forego all the Greek stuff, which was the full setup, because Kratos was like a Spartan who, basically like had to like fight his way against the gods and eventually become the god of war by defeating, the god of war and all this other stuff. And like, it was a whole kind of like journey over the course of 3 or 4 games, if I'm not mistaken. And they're just going to kind of skip over that for the series. They're just going to go right to his relationship with his son and the Norse mythology and all that stuff. Kind of an odd choice, in my opinion. And speaking of odd choices, let's talk about Rings of Power for a little bit. And basically, a few details for season 2 were released this week, where basically it says that they're going to be the same number of episodes as in season 1. So season 2 will consist of 8 episodes. We know that the actor who played the character Adar is not coming back. He's going to be recast. And they announced that it's going to be an all-female directing crew for season 2. And, there were I think half of season 2 was like, 2 female directors, and the other half was like, some Asian guy. I forget his name. But this time around, they're making a big deal about saying like, oh, it's an all-female directing cast. Yeah.
You guys should come see it. It's going to be great.
And a lot of the criticism for the first season was that they spent more time virtue signaling than they did about telling an actually Tolkien accurate story. And it seems like they haven't learned their lesson at all going forward. Not saying that these female directors aren't talented, but it just seems kind of like odd. Like, this seems like almost like a Kathleen Kennedy style move. Matt Vader 74, what do you make of this news?
I feel like they learned nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing at all. It's very strange that they had such a terrible reaction to their first series that they decided to go back to the drawing board and try to rework things for season 2. At least that's what I was under the impression that they were doing. And the very first fucking thing that they do is they put out this grand virtue signaling post about, hey, now we have an all-woman directing crew. Isn't that great? Look at us. Look at me. I'm going to virtue signal my ass off just to do it. It's just, I don't get it. I don't get it. They're doing nothing but harboring more bad press and from the people they should be trying to please. I don't understand it. I don't get it. I don't get it. They're sinking themselves. There's like they're literally taking a knife and just sticking it in through their ear on purpose. I don't understand it at all. I don't get it. This is the last thing that they should be promoting. If they had just done this and not made a big news incident about it, nobody would care.
Right.
Nobody gives a shit who directs these things anyway. Sorry, directors out there. You're not the news. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit who writes these things. I don't give a shit who directs these things.
Right.
I don't give a shit who produces these things. I want to be entertained. I don't want to be virtue signaled at because some purple-haired buzz-cutted lesbian is going to direct an episode of The Lord of the Rings. Don't give a shit.
Yeah, who cares?
Don't care.
Yeah.
Do not care. And
it's funny. James Gunn was
but you make me want to care. But now I have to care. I have to say something,
right?
Because you're putting this shit out there in our faces. Just shut the fuck up.
Yeah. Now we have
and
to
direct your shows.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's the stupidest shit. I wasn't planning on watching season 2 as it was, unless we did it for this thing.
Oh, but now we're
and now I have to, because I have to talk shit about your show every week.
So
real quick before we get to the rest of the panel, we got a super chat from Setlick Gaming for $20. Live long and prosper. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Thank you so much, Setlick.
Thank you, sir.
We appreciate your support, and we wish you Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays as well. John, what's your take on this? Do you think that this is the type of news that Tolkien fans want, or are they more concerned about making the show actually good?
The news that Tolkien fans wanted to hear was, hey, you remember that Tolkien expert that we fired in the early production of season 1? We're going to bring him back for season 2. That's the news that they wanted to hear. And this neither makes me want to watch the show or not watch the show. You know, when JoeBlow.com posted the news, I posted a GIF of John Krasinski doing this. Okay, just whatever. This does not convince me to do one way or the other.
Right.
And I think they didn't listen to Tolkien fans before. They're not listening to them at all now. And as Vader said, it's just virtue signaling. That's all it is.
Doubling down.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Brian, what's your take on this?
No, Vader already said it perfectly. Like when James Gunn announced that Ben Affleck would be directing a movie, I'm like, I don't give a shit. Like, who cares? Oh, he's going to be directing. Like, okay, and like, yeah, I mean, there's some directors that like are so good and so on the level, and they've done so many things that we love so much that we're like, okay, we want to see we know that at least their portion of it's going to be just spot on. And there's some writers too that have the same pull, but the majority of the writers and directors for me, it's like, I don't care.
It's like this episode. It's not like they're saying this episode's going to be directed by Stanley Kubrick,
right?
You know, don't give a shit that this lady who directed an episode of Law and Order SVU and Sex and the City is coming on to direct one of your stupid episodes. It's just get out of here.
We don't know them, and we don't care. Yeah, I think you said it's not Stanley Kubrick. Like, yeah, there's a handful of people where like we will get excited about. But anyone outside that handful of writers and directors that we would care about, we don't care. So so announcing it is just it's literally all it is saying it's all chicks now.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of have the same response to, you know, we all read these articles on all these websites that we all go to and some of us write for and stuff, and they all list that this show is going to be written by this person and directed by this person and produced by this person. And none of them make sense. You don't know who any of these people are.
Right.
You know, most of them probably graduated from film school or whatever, 2 years ago. It doesn't matter.
When I hear that, I hear, and this new TV show directed by womp, 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 and written by womp, 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 because I don't care. I just hear the Peanuts adults in the background talking. That's all I hear.
Yeah.
So, one of the interesting things about TV is that directors don't really have as big of a role creatively as they do in movies. In actual feature films, directors are the creative vision behind the film, whereas with TV shows, they're typically, unless they're also an executive producer and they're the ones who kind of like direct the pilot and set the stage for the series to come, they're not usually they don't usually have a lot of input. They're basically just there to kind of like wrangle the production and get an episode in the can. So, this is kind of like a nothing burger of an announcement, but it was also very much of a virtuous signal of an announcement. It was just kind of like, hey, look at how progressive we are because all of our directors are women. So it was kind of an odd choice, especially considering all the flack that season 1 got. I think you're all pretty spot on with your analysis on this one. But speaking of analysis, let's go on to what I'm sure everyone was waiting for us to talk about, which is a new ending for Indiana Jones 5 is being
doomed.
So there was an interesting video that kind of leaked out from a John Williams concert in Germany, I believe. And he basically talked to the crowd and said that they're reshooting the ending to Indiana Jones 5. And this kind of goes in line with some of the rumors that Doomcock has been kind of spreading. And basically, there's a lot of kind of controversy surrounding the movie in the sense that, a lot of people are saying that there's there's an ending where basically Phoebe Waller-Bridge takes over as Indiana Jones, and Indiana Jones gets erased through time travel. I'm not convinced that all of that is necessarily true, but the fact that they're reshooting the ending for the movie could be that some of the rumors about the test screenings not going well are accurate. But we wanted to get your guys' take on it. John, what do you think about the idea of them reshooting the ending to Indiana Jones 5?
Reshoots are never a good sign. Never. And it's almost like I wish I could have seen whenever you hear about a reshoot of a major film. I mean, didn't they also do reshoots for Endgame, Avengers Endgame?
Well, every movie gets reshoots to a certain extent, but this late in the production, or basically they've already released a trailer, I know Mangold's been working on editing a version of the movie. So the idea is that the rumor, at least, is that the test screening did not go well, and that they need to fix the movie by changing the ending.
Yeah, I wish I could have been on that test screening.
Didn't James Mangold say that there hasn't been a test screening?
That was his claim, yes. But Doomcock is claiming otherwise, and John Williams confirming that they're reshooting the ending lends some credence to that.
So what can we extrapolate from that? That James Mangold is what? A liar? Possibly? A liar. He's
wait, how is it? Wait, how is he lying?
Because he came out and said there hasn't been any of this stuff that's happened.
Well, no. You see, that's a common misconception. So when the composer is reshooting something or filming music for a reshoot, the composer could be going back to create another piece of music for something. It doesn't mean that they are reshooting the entire ending. I was watching Doomcock and I'm like, I so badly want to explain to him how things work, because all John Williams said, right? All he said was that he was going back to add music that they requested, right? Paraphrasing. The thing is, that doesn't mean they're reshooting anything. That doesn't mean there's another edit. That doesn't mean anything. That means that John Williams was asked to go and make a little bit more music for something. That's it. So that doesn't mean Mangold's lying either. If he said there's no screeners, I mean, he could be lying.
Well, maybe he's not, but I don't believe that they haven't test screened this movie. They kind of, I can't believe that happened. But
so there's two kinds of test screen, right, Matt? Matt knows this. There's the studio test screenings where it's screened inside the studio, and then there's the general audience test screenings where it's actually like at a theater somewhere and regular people are brought in to test it.
Yeah, test screenings are typically like they bring in an audience to help them score the movie, but like that doesn't mean that there aren't like internal screenings where other people,
right,
within the studio get to sit down and watch it and give feedback and stuff like that.
Yeah, I can totally see the internal screenings happening, but but plenty of movies never have test screenings. It's a common thing. Movies don't always have test screenings.
I would like to wish James Mangold a happy birthday yesterday.
Is it his birthday?
It was his birthday yesterday. So yeah. Happy birthday, dude.
The thing about the new ending is I gotta say, I'm not with the community on this one. I do not believe that they reshot the ending because people on YouTube complained. I don't believe that for a fucking second.
No.
I'm sorry, I just don't. We're not that important.
We have power. We have some stroke and some pull.
And I don't believe that. Imagine that.
Bunch of dicks out here on YouTube spouting our
nerd
opinions.
guys are really pissed. We better add this character. And then I also don't think Phoebe Waller, whatever her name is taking over for Harrison Ford. I don't think it's happening. Matt, I already told you what I thought was going to happen. I'm not going to spoil it here, but I don't believe she's taking over as Indiana Jones. I think that's silly.
No. I'm going to say this one more time. I'm rooting for this movie.
Yeah.
I want Indy 5 to be able, if we have to have it, I want him to go out on a good note. Yeah. I have such a bad taste in my mouth from that last movie that I won't name, that it has tainted my love a little bit of
Temple of Doom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no. But So I really hope this is a home run. I have no faith that it's going to be, but I really hope I'm wrong. And if I can sit here next year on Saturday morning and say, I loved Indiana Jones 5, that will be a good day to me, regardless of how big of a dick James Mangold has been.
Yeah, I hope we're all
you know what I
wrong.
mean?
Yeah,
I think the character deserves a good ending, and he hasn't got it. And I just want it to be good, and I hope it is. So, yeah.
He had it in 1989.
He did. You are correct. You are correct.
Yeah.
I still don't know.
Go ahead.
I still don't know why they're calling it Indiana Jones 5 because there are only 3 Indiana Jones movies.
Yeah, I mean, it should be 4, right? Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's odd.
Remember back in the day when the Temple of Doom was considered the bad one?
Yeah,
right. I saw this
it's so
retrospective.
graphic. Oh my god, it's so violent.
I saw this retrospective on YouTube.
Yeah.
It was like everyone's complaining about Crystal Skull, but you guys don't remember Temple of Doom was horrible. And I'm like, and he goes through this whole like list of why, and I'm like, none of those reasons to me are horrible. Everything about it, almost everything about it was awesome. And I loved in Temple of Doom how they incorporated Harrison Ford's actual medical condition that no one knew about off screen into the movie with the whole heart thing. It was, I don't know, that movie I thought was really clever, and I believe that you gotta up the scales a little bit after you've done 2 other movies. It was all 3 of those movies were so different, right? Same character, but so different in tone and everything that they just all worked. I love them.
All right. Well, speaking of Indiana Jones, let's talk about the big rumor that was circulating recently, which is that Kathleen Kennedy is finally retiring from Lucasfilm. And we've had a couple of leaks come out here where basically John Campea has been saying his sources are telling him that Kathleen Kennedy's retirement is basically guaranteed. And then we had a new report come out from a friend of the show, Cameron Pasha, who basically said that Kathleen Kennedy has settled on a severance deal where basically Disney would give her between 20 and 30 million when she leaves. And there's a lot of kind of evidence that's starting to back this idea that she's actually on her way out the door. The fact that Bob Iger is going to be back temporarily, he was one of her big proponents. So like with him in power, she's probably going to get a better deal leaving now than she would under new management. So there's a lot of signs that are aligning that makes me believe that the rumors of Kathleen Kennedy exiting Lucasfilm are probably true. I wanted to get your guys' take on this because ever since The Last Jedi pooped on the franchise, people have been speculating that she's out the door and all this other stuff, but she hasn't gone anywhere. I've been a big kind of like voice out there saying like, okay, she's entrenched. She's only going to leave when she wants to leave. And it feels like she's getting to the point where she wants to leave. And all these other factors are kind of like aligning to support that theory. So I wanted to get your guys' take on this. Brian from the podcast, do you think Kathleen Kennedy is finally exiting Lucasfilm?
It's so funny, bro, because I feel like we just had this conversation. I feel like we've had this conversation like 6 times because I don't know who's right or who's wrong when it comes to when she's leaving. But it would be very interesting if every time the community started talking with glee about her leaving when she was thinking about retiring and she's like, you know what? Fuck it, I'm going to stay on for like another year. Every time, like, but
That's what it feels like.
Right. It's like every time I'm going to leave. I'm not, you know what? Just to spite these assholes, I'm going to stay on one more year. I want her to go. I don't want her. I'm hoping that she leaves and they give the reins to Jon Favreau or something, right?
Oh
but,
my god! I'm picturing. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Brian.
It's okay. No, go ahead.
I've just got this thought in my head. It's like a cartoon of Kathleen Kennedy. It's like a single frame of her in front of her computer watching Doomcock do his stuff, and she says, "Oh yeah, mother effer, watch this, and she signs a contract extension like right there,
Right.
just for spite.
She calls like, listen, I know I said I wasn't going to renew me for the next 6 months. 6 more months. Every
There's
single
this
time.
guy online. There's this
So
guy
basically-
online. And he's
So listen, it's Doomcock's fault that she has stayed as long as she has.
She keeps extending her contract.
Hashtag I blame Doomcock. It's
Every
your
Doomcock
fault,
video
man.
extends her
It's
contract
your
6
fault.
months.
She's still there. Thanks, Doomcock. You jerk.
Every time, just extend me 6 more months. Well, what are you gonna do? Nothing. I'm just gonna sit here. But I want everyone to know that I'm still here. Yeah, I don't know, man. She needs to go. But that doesn't mean she's going to. I believe that Alex Kurtzman needs to go. I don't believe Alex Kurtzman's made Paramount any money.
Yeah.
I don't know why he's still there, but apparently he does more than just Star Trek. So like when you have a large variety or portfolio of things that you're working on, as long as like it's the average is a net gain, a lot of companies just will keep you around.
Yeah. In the end, it's all about this.
Right. It's all about the money. And success, one thing could be unsuccessful while 2 other things are moderately successful and it'll make up. And so that's the thing with Kathleen Kennedy. Like we don't like her. We don't like the movies. We don't like her direction. But we also don't know the financials either. Like it's possible Star Wars isn't losing money. It's possible they're still making money. It's possible that making a billion plushies, like those stupid little like owl things or whatever they were, maybe those things just sold a ton of money. Maybe Baby Yoda like made $12 billion in merchandise. We don't know. We don't know. So the fact that they haven't let her go and that she's retiring on her own tells me that the studio is probably not unhappy with her, which is crazy because all we see is we don't like this. This is not working, but we don't know how much if it's making or not.
Well, John, it seems like, according to reports, is like they're timing the announcement of her departure to around the time that Indiana Jones 5 comes out. So they're pretty confident that Indiana Jones 5 will be a hit, and they want to announce her retirement on a high note. And Indy is basically her baby. Like that's the thing that she's most proud of. So all signs point to Indiana Jones 5 fate and Kathleen Kennedy's fate kind of being intertwined. What do you make of this? Do you think that that basically the stage is set for her to bow out as the leader of Lucasfilm?
Well, nobody can do it forever. She might be more like, maybe she doesn't like the hours anymore. Maybe she can't exactly do all these things that she could do in her youth. And granted, she's done more than just make these horrible films, but she's also put people in key positions, has she not? So if she steps down, I'm willing to bet that she has a say as to who's going to replace her. They're probably going to replace somebody who she likes. Yeah, I will give her credit. We see her name in the Indiana Jones films that we like. So I will give her credit that she's capable of making some good products. But sadly, it's kind of like her just like brushing her hands away, saying, "Well, my job here is done," as she walks away from a burning building.
Right.
And I think she's done way more harm than good. And it's that simple. She let identity politics instead of storytelling rule her decisions.
Yeah, I agree entirely.
I think she needs to retire and go start a coffee roasting company. So
a humble coffee merchant. You know what's funny is I was watching Temple of Doom the other day when I was making our video that apparently no one wants to watch because man, that got bad views. But I'm watching Temple of Doom and I basically watched the entire 3 movies again because I was trying to get like the best clips for our Prime video. And man, I love Temple of Doom. I think I like it a lot more because of how attractive the main one of the main characters is, whatever her name is.
Willie Scott.
Yes, thank God. Man,
Kate Capshaw.
So I'm sitting there watching it though, and I'm watching her dance in the beginning, the anything goes thing, and I see Kathleen Kennedy's name come up like twice, and I'm like, huh. I guess I do like Kathleen Kennedy stuff. I don't even know anymore.
She
And we
has
haven't
made a
seen her
lot of
make
good
Indiana
movies.
Jones, dude. Maybe
You guys need to make a distinction here, though, is that Kathleen Kennedy on the original Indiana Jones films was a logistical producer, which means that Steven Spielberg and George Lucas told her what they wanted her to do, and she went and did it. She had no creative input into those movies at all.
that's true.
So this idea that she's like a wonderful producer is only accurate from the perspective that she's good at making things go. Like she's a good logistical, like, you know, we need this at 10 a.m. So we're going to have this at 10 a.m. But when it comes to creativity stuff, the only reason that she's held in such high regard is because she hitched her wagon to arguably one of the greatest directors to ever live, Steven Spielberg and George Lucas. So those are the guys that you need to credit for how good those movies were,
absolutely.
not her.
Absolutely.
But Matt Vader,
Yes, sir.
so Kathleen Kennedy, ever since the failure of Solo at the box office, she's been kind of limping along. Andor didn't do the numbers that they were hoping for. Willow is basically a huge flop right now.
It's still on?
And
I forgot.
and all the problems that have been surrounding the production of Indiana Jones 5 also fall on her shoulders. So it's very obvious that for a long time now, she's been kind of like, dead man walking, in the sense that like all the project that she's involved with have underperformed to a certain extent or been very troubled. So I think that like we're at a point now where maybe she just doesn't want to deal with it anymore. She wants to retire and enjoy her fame and fortune. What's your take on all this stuff? Do you think it's time for her to step down?
I thought it was her time to step down years ago. But yeah, I think Kathleen Kennedy is probably just to a point in her life where she's probably ready to retire and go spend her millions of dollars in a nice, blissful retirement on an island somewhere, drinking Mai Tais with her super successful husband. Or, she's just tired of Doomcock's crap and Tom's crap and all the rest of us. I get it. Either way, either story is fine. I have to say, though, I took a little bit of umbrage to the tweets that came out this week about all of these insiders and their big news, when our friend Kadish here has been using common sense and literally saying the exact same thing for literal years now. It's like it makes perfect sense that Kathleen Kennedy is going to go out with Indy 5. It's just
right.
It's a bookend for her. It makes perfect sense logistically and professionally for her to do it this way. And that's what you've been saying for literal years now, Matthew. And and for DeCampia come along and quote his sources, it's just, I get so annoyed at that shit. I just do. It's like, I got sources to say. It was like, oh no shit, Sherlock. This has probably been the plan for a very long time now. It just makes common sense. It's common sense.
His sources are common sense. Yeah.
His sources are articles that Matthew Kadish wrote 24 months ago on Medium or whatever the hell it is.
I used to love Campia, but then for the same reason, I have such an issue with him. He does that with so many things, dude.
Yeah. But if she doesn't retire, I'm blaming Doomcock. I am. I'm blaming Doomcock. And that's just it's just the way it's going to be. It's because it has to be spite. It has to be spite after this point. If she doesn't leave after this, it's definitely spite moves on her point. So yeah.
Right, yeah. It's definitely Doomcock's fault. And we'll get that hashtag going.
It was his fault. We absolutely will.
All right, guys. Well, that's it for our show today. We had a bunch of topics that we talked about, and we talked about them. I want to thank everyone in the chat for being here with us. John David, where can people find out more about you? And
you can look up hashtag. You can look up hashtag Morgala on any of the big social media. I'm not on TikTok though. My publisher wants me to, and I kind of joke that isn't that like for teenage girls? What? It's just, but that's where your readers are. Oh, okay. So I gotta consider that. But Morgala.net is the official website, and I got a second book coming out in February. I'm really excited about, and already getting some good press. So hey, cool, awesome.
Yeah, and you can check out John's books in the link in the description here on the video. Brian from the Popcast, any final thoughts, and where can people find out more about you?
Final thoughts. Been fun being here. Thank you for having me. please go watch my Indiana Jones video, because I don't know what's going on, but I don't think the algorithm likes it when I veer off of the Star Trek Stargate path, and it's not serving me properly. So go check it out at the Popcast. I think it's very good. And that's it. Love you guys.
All right, Matt Vader 74.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts, and where can people find out more about you?
Oh, well, people can just come follow me on Twitter at Matt Vader 74, and that's basically where I'm at right now. I'm on other things at the same handle, but that's about it. It's a weird transition time for me right now, so I'm not sure what my schedule is. We've been off of the show for a couple weeks, and I need to get together with you about what the schedule is going forward. I'm changing jobs in a couple weeks, so my whole world is in flux right now. So 2023 is a big year for me, and it's already starting. So, but we will definitely be here. What do we have coming up this week? Anything fun?
More skits and bits,
Yeah.
basically. I'd have to check the schedule to see what exactly is coming out, but we've been basically releasing, instead of movie reviews, we've been releasing little sketches that we did that have been very funny. We just released our Amazon reading bad Amazon reviews video.
Mm-hmm.
We did our Salty Nerds read the plots to porn movies.
That was fun.
That was fun. So we got a lot of like fun stuff out there. I think your Salty Nerds read comments to their RRR review video did pretty well.
Yeah.
People seem to like that one. So like we're just having fun in the month of December.
I'm still trying to get over that one comment about Star Wars 1977. It said, this movie looks like it was filmed in the 70s.
1 star, yeah.
1 star.
I saw
It's
that
like-
video. That was really good.
It's just like, it just reinforces my
well,
thought that
the
people
best
do
one
wrong.
was the Wonder Woman review.
It's just insane.
It was for bitches.
Oh, hold on. I got it, Chris. This is for Chris Metzlaff. I got to finish the job here.
So speaking of which, I want to thank everyone who gave us super chats throughout the course of today's episode. Chris Retzlaff, Eric Falconer, Lewis Cox, Gavin Blackburn, Ron Cook, Fluffy Panda, thank you so much. You gave us 3 super chats. Denny Wright and Setlick Gaming for $20. Thank you all so much. Your support means the world to us. We really do appreciate you guys, not only showing up and participating in chat, but also helping to support the show. It's very generous of you, and we appreciate you and are thankful that you are among our audience. So anyway, guys, that's it for today. We are going to basically, I think, take the rest of the year off because the holidays are next weekend and stuff like that. So we won't be doing another live stream until the new year happens, and we might even be doing more live streams going forward. Who knows? But want to thank everyone who joined us for 2022. This was a lot of fun, and we want to thank John for joining us for his first time. Hopefully we were gentle with you.
Oh, it was great. Thank you very much.
Great. And to everyone out there, stay salty, my friends. We will see you next year.
Happy